Our next guest is the CEO and founder of Gateway Sport and Entertainment, a next-generation sports marketing and entertainment agency that represents world-class talent, works alongside global brands, and supports ambitious rights holders to create authentic stories and meaningful partnerships. Deji Akande is an ambitious and determined entrepreneur with a passion for making real impact through action. I'm your host, Lorraine Moalosi. Join me as I dive into Deji's world and uncover the impact he's making through Gateway Sports and Entertainment. Deji, welcome to the podcast.
Lorraine, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me on.
I'm very excited for our conversation. But before we begin, let's start off our session with an icebreaker. Are you ready for that?
Always ready. Always ready.
Always ready. I always say born ready is my quote. What's your favorite quote, expression, or motto, and why is it your favorite?
To be honest, Lorraine, I've got quite a few that I will say in my mind, but like one which probably jumps out to me is very simple. It's just make it happen. Why that kind of comes to me, to be honest, because in life, if you're standing still, nothing's gonna happen, man. You know, if you want to progress in any way, in any walk of life, you have to make that step and make it happen. So whether that's in work or personal relationships, even in your faith, you know, whatever the case may be, you got to make a move, make it happen. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's so empowering because it presupposes that the power lies in you to do the thing that you want to do versus feeling hopeless and kind of sitting there and waiting for life to happen.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, you know, even in very tricky and challenging circumstances, I think we underestimate how much power is within to make that first step. Of course, you need a community at times, you need collaborators and people to support and enable progress, but make that first move and you'll be surprised on what you can do.
100%. Now, you are the CEO and founder of Gateway Sports and Entertainment. Why sports and entertainment? Why those areas?
I mean, I've always been involved in sport. You know, I grew up loving sport, playing football, doing athletics. And truth be told, I think I was probably like 16. I remember watching Jerry Maguire, the film. And yeah, I got excited. I was like, this is the world I want to be in. I'm speaking to my friends, like I want to be in sport. I want to be in sport business. And yeah, I remember going to university studying business and sport. I remember leaving there and getting a job in sport in the commercial team in British Athletics, which is like the track and field federation in the UK. And that was all just me trying to figure out a way to get into this space. So yeah, it's always been kind of quite a deep passion of mine internally, with a vision to one day have an agency, and I just try to navigate my path there.
And you mentioned British Athletics, and you've had so much experience with just different organizations that are doing wonderful things. Why was it important for you to start your own thing in your own agency versus sort of like sticking to, working for big brands?
Yeah, I think that's a really broad question. And sometimes I think to myself, I ask myself that question, but you know what? It comes down to just, I remember walking to work one day, I think a couple of times, and like internally I can just feel, this is great. I'm working in sport, I'm doing cool things, but like I just had this internal fire. Like I want to move, I want to create. Like, and I think when you have that, like you have to look into that. And I've always just had that passion to build and create something in the sport marketing world, and you had to kind of respond to that. So yeah, it was it's been a journey. But it's been a journey, but we're here now, and yeah, super thankful for the work we're doing, and yeah, excited for the future. But yes, like I said, we just have to make it happen.
We just have to make it happen. Just respond to that call if you have it. Gateway's portfolio is amazing. You are GB Taekwondo's exclusive sponsorship agency. And on the representation side, you work with many Olympic athletes, fighters, lifestyle personalities, plus you also have a production studio. Can you take us through that journey of creating those different offerings and some of your key learnings from that experience?
Yeah, I mean, it all began with athletes and representation, commercial representation. I've always been extremely passionate for athletes and seen their progression in life. I used to be very involved. I mean, I still am on the business side, but I used to run track and field. I wasn't fast. I always tell people that before they say, "Okay, well, how quick were you?" I say, "No, no, no." I mean, I wasn't okay like junior athlete, but I wasn't quick like that. But being in those spaces enabled me to make a lot of amazing friends, some of whom I represent now. I'm their manager now, but that, just being in those circles, it always intrigued me. And yeah, the passion was always there. And obviously that expanding into this world of sponsorship and commercial and partnerships. And, I've been exposed to a lot of the industry through my different roles, sales, account management, activation, production, talent, etc. But with Gateway, yeah, it began with talent. And there was a lot of relationships that I had within the world of athletics. So it was a really nice place to start. But honestly, it was my really good friend, who's also our client, Asha Phillip. So she's a two-time Olympic medalist, a 100-meter sprinter from Great Britain. She would meet every year. I mean, we were always catching up, but every year we'll probably have a chat where it's a bit more about her and her life and what's going on. And sometimes she'll talk about making a change agency-wise and stuff like that. But she called me, left me a voice note on WhatsApp, probably around November 2018. It was like, "Yo, I need to leave my agent. Like, I need you to find me a new agency," because she knew I was in that space in terms of I was working for another agency and whatnot. I said, "Well, I can help you find a new one, but listen, I'm about to start something now. Like, maybe let's go." And yeah, long story short, I remember, whipping up the laptop, making a presentation for her. She came. I'm sitting on my living room floor presenting to her, like, "Look, you've got all these medals, but commercially, it's not really adding up. Like, there's so much we can do." And yeah, that really was one of the origin stories of how this thing went about. And it's been a remarkable journey supporting athletes to help their visions come to life, to be honest. So yeah, and I guess, and to that end of your question, how it's built out, the vision for Gateway is very much to be, if I'm honest, one of the most influential in our spaces. That's our vision, right? You have to dream big. And I think that everything is complementary. So you have production, which is storytelling, amplifying the work we're doing, amplifying the work of our partners and brands. You have consulting, which is supporting rights holders with sponsorship, and brands with strategy. And you obviously have talent, which is a combination of all of that, but in the lens of helping their passions and purposes come to life. So I think as we build out slowly, but patient aggression, I call it, you really can start to see the model that we're trying to create.
Nice. I like that. Patient aggression.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And speaking of the Olympics, with so many of the athletes being Olympians, it must be a very exciting time for you because the Olympics this year. Are you working on anything exciting that you can share with us? Maybe even an exclusive if you have one?
Yeah, it is a tremendously exciting time, to be honest. It's the Paris 2024 Olympics is going to be big. Tokyo was great, but it had a lot of issues with COVID and very far away from, I guess, where I am, and obviously from the UK, and so big time differences and so on. But now it being in Paris, and it's almost pretty much just hours away from the UK, it feels in a way very close to home. So yeah, the athletes, we've been working a lot over the last 18 months building up to these moments, with the kind of partnerships that we're working on and the brand opportunities for our clients. And then, yeah, of course, supporting them to make sure that they're going to be, ready to roll, when that gun goes or whatever their sport is. Yeah, we just dropped some great news, actually, even just recently. Asha Phillip, obviously, it was a nice full circle moment because, she has a big campaign with NatWest, big UK bank, and great TV spot, 30 seconds, 60-second TV spot, huge advertising campaign, cross print, outdoor, everything. So like it was all the bells and whistles, and seeing her there, obviously this will likely be her last Olympics as well, her third and her last Olympics. Hopefully she can get her third Olympic medal. And we're already thinking about the future. We've been thinking about the future from day one. That's kind of one of the distinctions about Gateway. We like to think about the future very, very early in the athlete's career. So this is really nice to see that. But yeah, loads more to come as well. Follow us, follow the journey, and you'll see it all,
Absolutely. You just said something that I've been recently reflecting on, and I'm starting to develop a passion towards, and it's that sort of like retirement. So after the game, what happens? And what I've noticed is that for some female athletes, I don't know who to put I'm not assigning blame, but it feels like maybe their agencies, their teams don't often look beyond sort of their active years. And then you find that while the males can go on and get TV gigs and all these different things and all these investment opportunities, they can continue to be part of the game and just develop, but in a different role and capacity. It doesn't often happen with the women's side. And so I got really excited when I heard you saying like you've already been looking at other plans and stuff like that. But is this something that I'm making up now, or is this something that you can sort of like verify that you have seen as well, like happen when it comes to female versus male athletes?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a common issue across the board, but certainly I think historically, just by the nature of how the industry has been, male sports and male coverage has historically been amplified a lot. And I think that then has a knock-on effect to the opportunities post the active years in performance. But I think the shift, I do feel that shift changing. We have a majority female athlete roster, and it's the core of Gateway really is to think about how can we create long-term sustainable success for athletes. How can we take their passions and their purposes, obviously pursue commercial opportunities in the moment, leverage the hype and the activity around the peak moments of the career, but really always the lens of for tomorrow, right? So that we can help them build communities, build businesses, ventures, anything that is really at their heart, so that by the time retirement does come, we're not starting from day one. Like, we've been doing it for 5 years, and it's lovely now seeing some of the athletes who were with Gateway 5 years ago, now coming to the next phase of their career. And I'm buzzing about the things that we're doing. I'm excited to help amplify them and help us go to that next level together, whilst we're also working with the younger generation and they're just coming into it. But it really is about supporting individuals through the course of their career. So when the 19-year-old one day is the 40-year-old, we're looking back saying, yeah, we've been working, because many a times everyone is just chasing their cut, agents be chasing their 20%. They're just trying to go fast, make fast money, leverage a quick deal. You end up chasing your tail, chasing brand deals like a dog and a rabbit on a greyhound course, and that's not absolutely, don't get it twisted. We're gonna work. Like, proactivity is the biggest thing for us. We need to be proactive and pursue opportunities, but let's do that through the lens of this individual's passion and purpose, so that every step we're making, we're building up more bank, we're building up more things in the store, so that their future is going to be solid, and they're going to be active and continue to be relevant in the way they want to.
Wonderful. And I follow you on LinkedIn, and I love your stories, but your posts. But there's one post that you recently shared in particular that I absolutely loved, and I mentioned to you before we started recording how much I love this post. And it was basically, they had the opening line, "Every founder has a story, and it's been 5 years since I founded Gateway Sport and Entertainment." With such a headline, I work in marketing, I was immediately hooked. But then when I went on to read it, I was just so there were just so many things that you were addressing in that particular post that spoke to me and that I appreciated for their authenticity, openness, honesty, etc. And so I would love to sort of dissect that a little bit with you. And I'm actually going to share a link to that post as well in the description so that other people can see it, because that's how powerful I thought it was. And one of the statements that you had in there, and it's something that you've been mentioning a few times already in this recording, is the word purpose. And in the post, you said, my purpose trumped the roadblocks and fear. And you also had the word vision that stood out for me. So what was the vision and purpose behind Gateway? And how did you fan the flames of your vision and purpose instead of letting them die a slow death?
Ooh, Lorraine, we're going there. Okay, so I think the vision and the purpose, I really think my personal lens, I feel that purpose is very much, no matter how you shape it, cut it, it really is linked to serving others in one way, shape, or form. When you have a purpose, and many times you have like a call to action to do something, or to be in something, or to live out something. But the product of that is, and I believe should be, ultimately to impact and serve others in some type of way, And I've always just had that leaning towards, man, how can we create real value? How can we create real meaningful value? I always say, like, the most valuable businesses, organizations in the world, they create value. They're not one-hit wonders who come and go. Like, there's a reason why me, the customer, the consumer, the recipient, may have the phone I have, or whatever I have. It's because in some way it's giving me a value, use, and purpose. And so I always think, how can Gateway, as we start this organization, as we go on this journey, how can it be an organization that creates value? And the vision's always been to do that for athletes and for our clients. I think somewhere on my bio in my LinkedIn, I talk about making visions into reality, and supporting the visions of our clients, theirs and mine. And that really is it. How can we bring to life what they care about, what they love? How can we amplify them? And that indirectly gives me fuel and excitement. And trying to create that from the ground up, it's extremely hard. I mean, starting a business, was way harder than I thought it would be. And I knew it would be hard. But until you really step in, you end up going on the journey of trying to figure out, how do we stay in the game? How do we move this business forward? How do we create opportunities to deliver for our clients? But also, you got to look after yourself. And if you have a family, like I do, you got to look after the family. It wasn't like, we started with big capital or venture. And, two of my best men at my wedding, I brought them in early into the business. And, I remember just trying to figure out ways to build this up. And, it was really hard. And the post you're talking about, I ended up going into finishing. So I started initially doing 1 day a week for Gateway whilst I was working full time. I then eventually went 3 days a week for another company, then did 2 days for Gateway. And then eventually I had to jump in. And to do that, it was needed that I couldn't forget or just run in head like a mindless person. I had to think about, how can I support the family but yet still keep things going. So I talk about kind of delivering parcels and becoming a delivery driver and using that as fuel to, I guess, help with the bills whilst I couldn't really pay myself. And then I needed more flexibility, so I then started doing Uber driving. And you're working unbelievable hours, like it's not healthy, the kind of hours I was doing. But I just kept thinking about keep going, keep finding a way to create what you believe in, keep trying the vision. During the process, I became a solo founder, all love, but the opportunity to it was hard. It's hard to start a business, and it's hard. And so, I took it forward as a solo founder and had to really grind. But to get it to where it is now, I had to share that story because I want people to understand, like, you do have to go through a lot of storms sometimes, and it's not always going to be a rosy Hollywood type of picture. Sometimes you have to really just dig down, dig deep, believe in what it is. And so many times Gateway could have just, folded, died. It's so many times, but I always thought, no, keep going. And I have to shout out my wife as well for supporting. Do you know what I mean? She's been in the trenches with me in that regard. And you lose a lot of the security that a full-time job has. And I always tell people, a lot of people come to me and say, I want to start business, man. I want to build business. I say, look, brother, sis, I hear you. I'm with it. But really take your time to consider what is the opportunity you're looking to pursue, and how can you start this in a sustainable way? Because you have to find a way to keep going. Like, if you can't survive, then your business isn't going to survive. And I had to go through that process, but I was already kind of in the jungle because I kind of jumped in because I just had that itch, and so I don't want people to look at my story and think that's the way to do it. We're gonna jump it all and go pick up some side job, but nah, sometimes it is that. Other times, go slow. Start as a side hustle, build on the side, chip away, and then one day make that transition. But yeah, I'm extremely grateful for the opportunities that we've had, and I really for the athletes as well who've trusted me over the years. They are the stars, man, and they've really trusted me with their careers. And now Gateways, we're in a great place, excited for the future, and yeah, can't wait to just keep amplifying their stories and the agency story.
I hear you saying, keep it going, make it happen. But that makes me even more curious, because was it that you just understood what you were trying to build, so that really pushed you? Or was it that you understood that, you remember the call that we were mentioning earlier, that you've always felt like you needed to start something on your own, so that was what was driving you? Because the reason I really want to understand very well what you're saying is because I know that whole conversation of survival versus self-actualization is a big one, right? Because a lot of people want to build things, want to do things, but not many people do them because life just happens. You mentioned that you have a family, so you needed to provide for your family. It doesn't matter that you have a goal and a purpose. You need to make sure that certain things are done. So what really was it? Was it just knowing that you were going to do something, or was it believing in the like what you can achieve? What was it that just made you keep going and get that fuel and that energy versus like, oh, I can't anymore, and just throw in the towel?
It definitely was. I had clarity of where this business can go. I had clarity, and without that clarity, I don't know, maybe I would have said, okay, I gotta go somewhere else, I gotta try it, maybe I'll give up and pivot. And no, but I had real clarity. I mean, there's times where it's like 3 a.m. in the morning, I'm doing a night shift in Uber, somebody just thrown up in my car. I'm now cleaning that, thinking, boy, like, all of my friends are asleep right now. None of my athletes know about this. My wife's at home with the kids going crazy because we had young children, so they're not really sleeping. And I'm thinking, I'm in the middle of central London cleaning up somebody who's just thrown up. Oh, and also it's a Saturday evening. I got church in the morning, and my daughter now needs to come in this car, and I got to take her to church. And you're thinking, oh, is this worth it? Like, this is a lot. But I just knew that these are the moments which will make the difference. And it's a really hard road to tread on. But when you have that inner feeling, that inner vision, you just have to say, right, make sure that your responsibilities are taken care of, and you're keeping the roof over your head, and your family are okay. But you just have to pour in. Some seasons in life are like that. You have to pour in. And I knew that we can get to that point, and we can get over those hurdles, and now, it's amazing. Yeah, we're doing repeat business with the biggest brands in the world, where you have amazing Olympic athletes, world medalists, Olympic medalists. We're launching a funding round now, and that's highly anticipated. People are excited about that because they're seeing what the agency is doing and the future of it. But I'm like, we would never be there if it wasn't for me keeping going at that 3 a.m., that 3 a.m. time when I was doing the Uber or doing all those delivery shifts. Like, that was really like and on a personal note, that I've developed a lot over these 5 years, because you learn about yourself, and I realized how much I really wanted. I wanted it bad, clearly, because sometimes people say you have to be a little bit out of it. You have to be a bit crazy to do business, and I think you're right, because the many times I think the responsible thing to do would be like, hey, this is too much. Like, just get yourself a stable job, dude. And there are people telling me to do that. Maybe you should consider doing this. Or, I remember one time someone was interested in the business a little bit and were trying to get me to kind of come into their business. And I was like, nah, this isn't it. I've been working too hard for that, and the external pressures. But many times I'll say that, don't be upset when people don't see your vision, because it's not their vision. Do you know what I mean? Don't be upset about it, because it's not their vision. It's your vision. So you can see it. And again, I repeat, don't go into it aimlessly and you're thinking tunnel vision and nothing else matters. You may have some responsibilities you've got to take care of, which means if you want to do this vision, the consequence of that is you're going to have to work 12 hours, do Uber, whatever, because for that to still meet your responsibilities, you have to keep going. And I think there's that balance. I don't want young people, especially in today, to think, yeah, we just jump in and we just do it and nothing matters. No, there's a lot of things that matter. And there's a lot of risk that goes into this: relationships, stress, health, all of these things come into play. So, you have to tread carefully. But if you go through all of that and you're still in that position saying, no, man, I really believe in this, then I think you've got something. You should try and find a way to make that happen.
You painted a picture when you were talking about clarity, that maybe if you hadn't had clarity, you would have been like, oh, let me try this, let me try that, let me try this. And I think that was so powerful, because that can be one of the blockers that stops people from being successful. And you did mention it before. You said if somebody wants to start a business, you would say to them, just think it through, think about what exactly it is that you want to do. Because I guess that the greater the clarity, the greater the conviction, the belief, and then you can really stick to your guns and just sort of actualize your vision. And then another thing that you also mentioned in the post was you were like sort of thanking different people. And from what you've been saying throughout this podcast as well, it sounds like you have surrounded yourself with a lot of wonderful, wonderful people. And I just want to explore that a little bit. Like, is it that you actively cultivated and you were like, I really need to surround myself with wonderful people? Or are you just a wonderful person and like attracts like, and then just wonderfulness? What do you think, what can you attribute the fact that you have so many supportive, encouraging people around you to?
It's a combination of a lot of things. I think absolutely there are people who God has placed in my life who are extremely supportive. I think, absolutely shout out my wife again. Do you know what I mean? She didn't marry this guy. We got married in 2017. I was in a full-time job. We were just excited. I was young as well. We were chilling. She didn't marry this guy, but 2 years later, I'm out on the roads. I'm out here pushing parcels and doing that, and that was a complete shift, but she believed in me, and the vision I had, and it was a massive support to have that. But also I appreciate, like, in every organization I've been in, I really ensure that, we move with integrity, we move with positivity, we move with the right type of vibrant energy. And I think people, the good people, it attracts, you know what I mean? And people then, you're around people who mirror that and align with that. And the people who don't align with that, naturally, I kind of shift away anyway, but, you're around that. And so, on my post you referenced, I was talking about, the CEO and the COO of one of my former agencies I worked for, and I was working there when the vision of Gateway really started out. And I said, hey, I want to take one day back a week to manage this Olympic athlete. And they, had conversations, but they said, cool, let's do it. And that was a massive help because it helped me get the ball rolling. And the early work we did with Asha, and still doing, obviously, with her campaigns going live, that was the catalyst and the foundation for everything else, and the other athletes seeing that and the brand seeing that. And it's really just spiraled there. But it's taken 5 years to really get, for me and you to have this conversation. You know what I'm saying? And so, it is a journey, and I'm thankful that the people around have been great supporters. And I will definitely shout out just close friends, people who aren't linked to the business, but people who are just close, and they see you, they see the graph, they see the hustle, they see the ambition, and they want to just support. And there were so many times people would just show different love and blessings to myself and the family while we're really in the thick of it. And I really appreciate that. And sometimes you would see an agency or another business like start up and have so much funding, and you're thinking like, wow, like they're building this with so much investment, and we're out here like pushing away. But I said, look, at the right time, like all thing is time, and everyone's story is not just that story. And so keep making it happen. And now we're in a position that I really think we are a very attractive proposition, to be quite honest with you. I think, I always talk about, with the next generation, sports marketing agency, that we are the present, but also with the future of this space. So absolutely, I can go with confidence knowing that whether we get loads of investment, we get a little bit, we get none, we're still going to be here because we've gone through all that. So we're going to make things happen. So shout out everybody who's been on the ride, and I look forward to the rides ahead.
Deji, why was it important for you to share your story with such transparency and authenticity without sugarcoating or making things appear more glamorous than they were actually?
Yeah, it's very important to be real and authentic in today's world. We all talk about authenticity, but truly there still is a lack of that, and there's still so many people are going through so many things. And don't get me wrong, of course, there's a time for privacy, there's a time to be to be considered and to be quiet, but there's also a time to speak and share your truth and share and reflect what's actually happening, so other people can be inspired by their story. The amount of messages I've got saying, bro, other entrepreneurs calling me saying, yo, I am right there right now, I am struggling, there are things going on, and I'm just saying, giving them encouragement for my journey. We would never be having this conversation if I didn't talk publicly about my story. So I think there's just a real, my hope is that people can use that, almost is an encouragement, a testimony of encouragement that they can then take on and navigate for their own life. And they might be just trying to pursue a new job. They might be just trying to improve their relationship with their wife or husband. They might be trying to support their kids with something. They might be trying to fight for their mortgage. They might be trying to start a business. I don't know what it is, but ultimately that message of like finding true value in what you believe in, pursuing it, finding a way, using partners, being an enabler. Maybe someone read that post and they're thinking, well, I could help somebody in their journey. They can be like my old boss who helped me. Do you know what I mean? So there's so many elements to it, but none of these things will be, I saw something one time, and it was talking about founders who don't want to be telling their story because they're scared of being seen as egotistical or showing off and so on. And the guy was saying, yo, this isn't like, and I was there as well. I was nervous. I don't want people feeling like I'm trying to, I said, but listen, you need to amplify because people don't know how it comes about. They just see this, especially in the world of sport and entertainment. Now people are seeing, oh, Deji's in Miami, oh, Deji's in Singapore, oh, Deji's here. And they might be thinking, oh man, this is just a good life. He's working with Nike, he's doing all this kind of stuff. But I'm like, nah, we didn't start there. We started from the ground. You know what I mean? And we've had to chip away. So anything we see now is authentic, because that's the reality of what's happening. But we are just building with humility, building with honesty, openness. I hope that I'm always sharing this story, no matter where my career goes, because I want people to just see it. Do you know what I mean? See it for what it is. I'm not trying to paint it around. Lorraine, do you know how shy I was so nervous I was going to pick up like some big marketing director or some big athlete in my Uber car when I was driving that taxi. I was thinking, boy, someone's going to see me. Someone's going to see me. They're going to be like, hey, ain't you that guy from Gateway? Like, I thought you were going to be this cool agent and you're out here 2 a.m. picking me up from Nando's. Like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? But I said to myself, hey, doesn't matter. If I'm helping you get your shopping home, like, just know I'm working on a vision. Don't worry about the noise. That's another thing I'm gonna say. Do not worry about the noise. Like, you have to be so focused on just trying to achieve. And I bring it back to the athlete mindset. You know, athletes have that mindset of just pursuing that gold medal, that championship, and you have to be focused. And we bring it all kind of round into that same business approach. Like when we're working with a client, when we work with an athlete, a member of the Gateway family, that's what we call it. Like, we're going to work, we're going to be proactive, we're going to pursue opportunities. You need to be passionate about your career and need to be open to working with us and collaborating. Like, this isn't a one-way thing where we're just we're just an assistant, or we're business partners in your business, and we're here to amplify you. So we have to both put into that and both, leverage each other's expertise. But we're gonna work, and I really want athletes to see that. I want brands to see that. I want clients, rights holders to see that, because we're coming with that approach to this space, that productivity, which, if I'm honest, across the industry, not just in the UK, Europe, but even in the US, globally, I just don't see it as much. And I think there's a real gap for us to really take what we're doing and expand and help that message come true for people in their own lives.
You mentioned mindset, and that's something that really stands out about you, that you have a specific kind of mindset and principles that you embody, that you, even the quote that you said, it's not, I can tell that it's not just a quote that is just on the wall or on your wrist as a tattoo. It's actually something that you live by. Where did that come from? Is this something that you actively cultivated, or is it that now, because this is different Deji, like you said, from the Deji that hadn't started Gateway, like from 5 years ago? Where did that mindset come from? Because you have it's very clear from our conversation that you've got principles.
I think that's a wonderful, thought-provoking question. In truth, again, I think it possibly comes from a number of places. I think, I'm a big man of faith. I'm a strong Christian, and then absolutely, I think, trying to live out life with purpose and integrity, but also intention, I think is definitely there, and I take a lot from that. I think life experiences as well. Someone had a podcast earlier, and they said, life is hard, but it is beautiful. And I hear that. Life can be hard. It can really be hard, but it is also very beautiful. And to be able to experience it, even in the hardship, there's beauty in that we can even be here. So, I take all of that, and I just try to think about, and I've always just thought about trying to live with intention, trying to make sure you go after it. And certainly as you get older, it kind of gets sharper and sharper and sharper and sharper. And, now, I'm in my early 30s, and I'm like, yeah, like, hey, right, we've got experiences of the youth. And don't get me wrong, I was not always that guy who was, purpose driven. I was definitely not the A-star student. If my mom was here, she'll say, the teachers will always say, Deji's good and stuff, but like, I feel like, is he trying enough? Like, he seems so, chilled out, laid back. And I'm like, no, I thought I was always there, but there was always another level. And I think my entrepreneurship journey has definitely like stripped me down and unlocked things of me, which I've learned along the way. Like, I'm continuing to learn along the way. So yeah, I'm just trying to bring people on this journey, because I know that it can, I hope and I believe it can be of encouragement to others in their own way, in their own walk. But just trying to make things happen in the world of sport. That's what we're trying to do.
Wonderful. And one of the things that I hope for in life is to live to 100. So please imagine with me that you're 99 years old and you're looking back on your life. What kind of impact would you have liked to make? What kind of things would you have liked to do?
Wow. Impact. I would love to have made impact, and for me at 100, there's somebody at 80, there's somebody at 60, 40, 20, even one who have been impacted through the work that me, the team, the community around us, the generations that have come before, after me have done. Do you know what I mean? Because that is like that. That's what it's all about, man. We're just, we're trying to inspire. We're trying to help people have a more richer, fuller, more empowered experience through life. Because ultimately, like, life will move, people, job will change, you'll move industry, and things will happen in life which you'll realize that, wow, life is bigger than just what they might say it is. Like, there's a lot going on. So yeah, if we can move with integrity but also move in inspiring others in their own way, yeah, that would be wonderful. And also, people say, live the full life. He tried, man. He went for it. He went for it. He put his foot on the pedal, and he went for it in a really positive way. So yeah, I mean, hey, bring on 100. Bring on 100. I'll see you there, Lorraine. I'll see you
You'll
there.
see me there. Wonderful. Since you're like a man of faith, I got reminded of, like, every time you speak, I get reminded of different scriptures, etc. And I just thought of John 10:10 about like life, give them life and life in abundance. So
Amen.
I'll
Amen.
see you at 100.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just going to begin to wrap things up. Our conversation got longer than I had planned, but it's just because I'm enjoying it so much. But what can we expect from Gateway Sports and Entertainment in the next couple of years?
Yeah, I think we just want to continue to amplify the work we do, continue to work with athletes all over the world. I think that's a real vision of mine, is to take what we've been doing in the UK and really support athletes, in the US and in other areas, Africa, of course. I'm Nigerian, and the Middle East. Wow, the Middle East is going crazy right now with stuff. How can we support individuals to navigate their career, but using passion and purpose as a real lens, and be that almost, purpose-driven agency who are helping individuals amplify, but still sharp, commercial. Let's create opportunities, like let brands come in and get involved with these athletes, realizing that that their storytelling is rich and it's valuable, and that's going to help us in our own journey. So from an athlete perspective, that's really what we'd love to do. Let's start to build deeper our roots in the UK. Let's start to, work with, continue to work with amazing athletes, but let's also look at how that could be in a small way taken. The LA Olympics in 2028 is in LA. So that's really interesting, and all the other global events. But I think more broadly, when I think about the full spectrum of Gateway, just to help the visions of our clients come to life in a brand way, in a production way, in a consulting way, and all of this, I guess, ethos and foundation that we've talked about now, like, let that live itself out. And to be honest, just to stay in the game. I think if you are just in the game, doing your thing, turning up, you might not always be the number one pick. You might be the low pick. You might be in the middle, but just keep turning up. And over time, you'll still be there. People will come and they'll go, and things will come and they'll go, but you'll still be there. So just always stay in the game. That's another one of my favorite mottos. But yeah, that's really what I'd love to see. So more partnerships, more brand deals, more amazing athletes, more opportunities to amplify our work, and do things with integrity and just move forward. So that is what's up, Lorraine. That's what's up.
That's what's up. And I promise this is like the last question. If anyone is listening to you today and wants to walk more in purpose and cultivate a vision, stay in the game, as you just said, what advice would you give that person?
Yeah, let's try and make this real tangible. I think ultimately it's a really personal thing. I think if you're looking to move with more purpose and to really think, it's a really personal thing. But I would bring it back to like the passions and the things that you care about. And I think when you start thinking about the things that you really truly care about, maybe something which is very personal to you, maybe your family, and like using that as the lens of, okay, cool, well, how can I then protect this flower? How can I then protect this beautiful thing that I care about and amplify it and start to take it to another level and another stage? And that might mean you need to think about it financially. That might mean you need to think about it from a health perspective. It could be so many anything, but building that, making that the groundwork and the cornerstone, and then start to live your life through that lens, of passion. And that passion can then lead to purpose, and purpose, and then it can lead to career. It could then lead to the relationship you want. So explore your passion, build on it, and find a way to amplify it so you can start moving in purpose with it. I think that's what we'll say.
You have preached to me today, Deji.
Hey.
So thank you very much for coming on to our podcast, and for everyone else who is not used to these kind of deep conversations. I hope that you absolutely love this as much as I did. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I don't know if this has been a bit different for your listeners, but I think it's important that you just chop it up and just keep it real,
Absolutely, 100%.